They got their guy. They got their guy. One of the first to enter this coaching carousel, right? To one of being one of the first to sign their guy. All right. This is a program defining moment for Virginia Tech, right? They didn't just hire a coach, they hired credibility, right? James Franklin is one of the most best program builders in the country. This is a guy that I remember him as being an OC at Maryland back in my personal high school recruiting days. But this is a guy that took over Vanderbilt, right? Took over Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt hasn't been good until now. Vanderbilt hasn't been good since Jay Cutler was the quarterback, right? Took Vanderbilt to 9 wins in back-to-back seasons. He won 100-plus games at Penn State. He led them to a playoff, not just a playoff. He led them to a semifinals. And now he's bringing that energy. Now he's bringing that recruiting. Now he's bringing that recruiting power to Blacksburg. Since he left Penn State, over 17 decommitments. I don't know if all 17 are coming, but some of those are coming to Blacksburg. Make no mistake about this. This is Virginia Tech announcing that they are back in national title talks. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't get that twisted, right? They're not an instant national title team, but this is a school that just approved over $230 million in the athletic spending program, right? That's SEC Big Ten level of investment that they're doing, right? Combine that with someone like a James Franklin, right? Again, combine that with someone like James Franklin, right? Someone who has dominated the DMV and Mid-Atlantic recruiting areas, right? He's recruiting in Penn State's backyard for a reason, And suddenly now Virginia Tech becomes a real player in college football and ACC, even though it's going to take some time, right? It's not just a regional team anymore. When you think about Virginia Tech, as you saw the intro, yes, you think about that entrance, walking down that condensed tunnel, right? With the stadium going crazy to Sandstorm. You think about Mike Vick eras, right? David Wilson at running back, right? Eddie Royal at receiver. I'm dropping knowledge on you guys. The Fuller brothers, Kyle Fuller, Kendall Fuller, right? You think about loads of talents that range from Virginia, DMV, 757, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, right in the thick of things, right? And now they get a guy like James Franklin. Now, for Penn State, obviously this is the end of an era. Franklin brought stability, he brought success, but couldn't quite break through those elite programs, right? The school, school gets massive financial relief from this buyout, right? A situation now that Penn State doesn't have to pay him, what they were going to, because now Penn State becomes the biggest job on the market. Expect some chaos to happen. Who's next, right? It seems like they've been struggling to find their guy, and not really a talented or crazy coaching pool, right? But in broader coaching cycles, this is the first major domino, right? It kind of elevates what the mid-tier Power 5 schools believe that they can accomplish. In the ACC, this is a win. A league that desperately, and I mean desperately, needs new energy, right? This is a team that almost, if things were to win a certain way, might have been left out of the playoff. Obviously, it didn't happen. Duke failed us. But now they'll get a team. I don't know if they'll get 2. But you see what Clemson is. Clemson's trash this year. And they've been carrying that ACC crown for a while. Now we got teams like Miami coming into the mix. We got Georgia Tech coming into the mix, right? We got Pitt, who's always been an interesting contender when it comes to, the ACC, right? Louisville's always upsetting someone, right? So we'll see how this pans out. But this is huge. Don't get that twisted one bit. James Franklin is going to be the next head coach for Virginia Tech. Right? This is a guy who was fired after a 3-3 season with Penn State this year, right? This was a buyout that drops now from $49 million to about $9 million because he immediately took another job. Remember, he had the right to mitigate, right? Virginia Tech, they're making their investments, and obviously this is a huge investment. But what does it mean for Virginia Tech? It's a program-changing swing. This is the most ambitious hire Virginia Tech has had since Coach Beamer built the modern identity, the Beamer ball identity of Virginia Tech. Real recruiting momentum is now going to come into play because Franklin, he has ties with Maryland. As I told you, he was the offensive coordinator at Maryland, right? You think about Virginia, Philly, DC, big markets, underrated markets. And he's going to be able to steal some of that talent, that Pennsylvania talent, right? Don't get that twisted, right? Don't get that twisted. Franklin is known for his structure, his branding, his energy, and organization. Virginia Tech will look very different very fast. All right. Something that we haven't seen again since Beamer's been there, right? Right. So it's that floor versus ceiling kind of talk. The floor instantly raised. The ceiling depends on whether Franklin can win those high leverage games. Something he struggled with Penn State. But I got to tell you, ain't no high leverage games in Virginia in the ACC. Miami's always going to give you a stinker. Clemson's not what it was. Georgia Tech, that's going to be a hard fought battle. And you got Virginia on the rise, so that brings back that rivalry. But it's not what it used to be, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that. It's not that one bit, right? And then what does this mean for? Now that Virginia Tech has essentially started this whole thing, what does this mean for the coaching cycle? Again, that was the first big domino to fall, and it was a big domino. James Franklin, I'm sure he was in for other jobs, but now what does it look like through the coaching cycle, right? It raises the market, as we talk about, for other coaches. Like everyone's talking about what Lane's going to do. Hopefully my Gators get him. Who knows if that or when that will happen. What's it going to do for other SEC jobs? Remember, if one coach leaves, that other spot has to be filled. So let's say if Lane does leave Ole Miss becomes open now. Ole Miss becomes a notch above these Arkansas, maybe the Auburns of the world, right? So the coaching cycle is about to intensify. What does this mean for the ACC? Well, Virginia Tech just rejoined the real conversation. The Clemsons, the Florida States, Louisville, North Carolina States. You have to include Virginia Tech in there now, right? They need more marquee coaching names, and they got one. They got one. This is a playoff-proven coach in a huge conference right now, right? And we're going to see how this all pans out. He's got to make an impact. Don't get it twisted. What does this mean for college football? Well, you're bringing back life one of the top brands that we have not seen in a while. Virginia Tech really showed that if you want to invest like an SEC school, you go hire that caliber type of coach, right? Franklin is going to make Virginia Tech compete immediately. 6, 7 wins, right? 9, 10 wins, right? This offseason is going to look a lot different, right? This is another, I guess, reset in regards to a fresh new face, a fresh old face getting a new makeover into relevancy. That's what that means for college football, right? So listen, I couldn't be more excited for this type of hire for college football, for this to happen in college football, because this is awesome. And bottom line is James Franklin at Virginia Tech is bold, it's aggressive, but it instantly raises the floor for that program that desperately needs it. And if he can fix the big game issues, which, keep in mind, this is not the Big Ten. This is not the SEC. He will be more evenly matched in the ACC. Hokies are going to matter nationally again, and fast. I tell you what, man, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see how, this all looks for James. I'm excited he gets, he was going to get a job. He didn't have to coach, but he wanted to coach. This is what these guys do. They're lunatics. They like staying in the office from 6 in the morning till midnight, breaking down film, right? So now, with that being with that question mark, with that hole, that Virginia Tech hole in Blacksburg now filled, now what's the job market look like? You still got some top guys out there, right? Virginia Tech is obviously off the table. Sandstorm is coming back, right? I can't listen. That first night game at Virginia Tech, when these suckers walk down that tunnel and enter that stadium, it's going to be something college football has not seen in a while. College football has not felt in a while from Virginia Tech. Instantly, it's going to matter. Instantly, it is going to matter. I'm excited. Listen, I can't stop thinking about what this is going to look like. And that College Game Day might be there, next year. We saw what Bill at UNC looked like on week 1. Granted, he got his ass kicked and blown out, but we saw what that looks like. It is going to intensify. When I tell you, it is going to intensify now that James Franklin is at Virginia Tech, right? And if you have any questions, any doubts, or just curious of what Virginia Tech is supposed to look like, Virginia Tech is back, and I can't wait to watch them. Shout out to James Franklin, Athletes Forum Podcast. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. How do you feel about Franklin B Tech? Who's next? Who do you guys want to see go certain places?